Saturday the 30th, May 30th, and it's about coming up on 8 o'clock. Did a good bit of yard work today, and my mom called, or not called, she messaged. I don't know what time it was, maybe 11ish or something like that this morning, and asked if any of us wanted to meet down at Oasis for a late breakfast or lunch. So all of us but Lydia ended up being loose and able to go, and so that was good. Have some family time, good breakfast, discussed a little bit about the upcoming trip, and heard from the lady from the funeral home out there and crematorium late this afternoon, and then called her back, and so everything is set, and definitely what she'd already said, but just 100% confirmed that Nathaniel's ashes should be ready to receive at any time on Friday, which is good, because depending on what time we get into Las Vegas, that may be, I'm thinking that's probably going to be the second stop, maybe go to the coroner's office or whatever place we have to go to for that, and then hopefully hit up the funeral place next, maybe after lunch, an hour. Kind of have the good sketch, which I think I mentioned that yesterday, as far as the projected each day kind of thing, as far as where we'll end up and stops and be leaving from and all that. So that's good. But yeah, she called and had the bill already, so thankfully we got that paid, all those services and related costs, and heard from some friends today. May hang out tomorrow with some friends for a few hours, maybe Monday, I'm not really sure. Just kind of depends on what all's going on, and all that over the next 2 days, because after today we just have three full days before Wednesday when we're going to be heading out. So I know these days will probably seem like they're moving relatively fast, and but yeah, so the family all pretty much drove down, but I wanted to get a walk-in, so I walked down to Oasis and back, and I was thinking, one thing that I've thought about many times in my life and talked to, like when we're having coffee shop bullshits and talking about philosophical things and life and death and all that with kids and family and history and people that have gone and things of that nature. It's always been a curious thing, would not be sufficient. Um, but of course, there's so many cliches, and then other things that are more poignant, uh, phrasings and quotes and such that encapsulate the idea of, nobody knows how long they're going to live, basically. You could be taken out today, you could live X number more years, you don't really know. I mean, unless you fucking take yourself out, I guess. And then, of course, there's people that try that. It doesn't go as planned, but the thing for me is like relating it to people in our own family. Um, for example, I've thought before, like, okay, I'm 42. My dad died just right after he turned 60. I mean, days. I can't remember exactly how many days, but it was just a few days. I think 5 days maybe. Turn this down. Oh, I got a bird fight over here. But I thought, well, if I at least end up getting as many years as my dad, uh, losing him at 60 was a fucking ripoff, and for him, for the situation, I mean, cancer and all that kind of bullshit. But I've thought, pun intended, I could live with that. I mean, so many people. I mean, there are children that are never even see their first birthday. Tragically, um, there are people that I mean, die at all ages for all kinds of things, and it's tragic, and they don't deserve what happened, and all that. And then there's other motherfuckers that live decades past when you know probably should have been tossed in a goddamn hole somewhere. Treacherous, horrible people, and vicious, and such. But one doesn't know when their time's going to be up, But I thought, well, my dad, he lived to be 60. Well, if that was the case, I'd have around about 18 plus years left. And then I've thought about, it's like I can envision that because I've lived 42 years. So that would be, it's like, let's say roughly half more of my life, approximately 50% longer than I've already lived, live. But then I've thought about like my grandpa, Doherty, who lived to be 87. And then my grandma Doherty, who lived to be 89, and I think it's like, damn, like I mean, I can envision living that long. I mean, I could imagine, but when I think about every fucking moment from the moment I was born until now, and then everything that I can remember, picking up somewhere around 2 years old, um, sporadically, sporadic memories, and a few even earlier than that. And I think about everything, like before kindergarten, preschool, kindergarten, going through school, all the summers, working, all just everything that happened in my entire childhood, and then marriage, and then completely raising all but one of our children to adulthood thus far, and all that, and you just think it's like I almost can't imagine living the length of my entire life over again, plus some pocket change. I mean, like, if I live to be as old as my grandma, then um, one, I'd be fucking lucky. Two, uh, you know, I mean, I'd live another 42 years, the entire length that I've lived so far, plus another five roughly. I mean, that is just crazy to me. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm easily impressed by certain things. Uh, you know, and but then, so I've always had those comparisons. It's like, well, you know, if I lived so much longer, I'd be about as old as my dad. Of course, it could be anywhere in between. It could be before that. I could, fucking hammer fall out of a skyscraper, whack me on the head someday. Who knows? Who fucking knows? I don't know. I'm not really that worried about it, uh, but now on the other side of that, I think about my son Nathanael only living to 20. Not even half as many. I've lived more than double the length of his entire life, plus 2 years. And that's just so fucking strange to me. It's just so fucking strange. And I think a person could have a meltdown or go fucking insane trying to make any sense of this sort of thing, you know? Because Nathaniel was a good dude. He was a solid dude. He was a loving person. He was fucking kind. He was thoughtful. He also didn't put up with shit from people. Uh, Amen to all that. But at the same time, I guarantee there have to be probably a few, if you think about it, you just think about things. There's probably a few escaped war criminals from the Nazi Party in World War II who made it to Argentina or here or there and assumed some new identity and whatever, who still aren't fucking dead yet. Who still aren't fucking dead. Murdering, torturous fucking people who will have lived more than 4 times my son's entire life. Over and over and over again. What does it mean? I mean, I don't think it fucking means anything. Other than, I don't think anyone's twiddling all the fucking knobs making it make any goddamn sense. But if it doesn't have some higher assigned prescribed meaning, what at least is the takeaway? Well, I think Nathaniel had that one figured out. And it was tattooed right on his knuckles, and it said, "Live life." And of course, that can seem so simple. Oh, live life. The thing is, for him, his personal sensibilities and dogma weren't fucking bumper stickers. It wasn't just a tattoo. It became a tattoo because that's how he lived. And if a person realizes that, like when I think of a friend of our family who died last year, who was younger than me, she didn't start out 2019, so far as I know, by any reason to, thinking that she would not live to 2020. I mean, she may have, had like a realization of the brevity of life and, potentiality, just like like any given year. I think it's like, well, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee tomorrow, the next day, the next year, the next month, whatever. There just isn't, but I don't think that she thought it was a definite thing. Like, I remember my dad's last Christmas. He knew he wasn't going to see the next Christmas, but he was in a very different situation than like Nathaniel or this other friend or say me right now. So, what do you do? Well, what do I do? I try to live life. You try to enjoy yourself. You try to be good to people. You try to love people. Not just try, do. Hopefully you're fortunate enough to be loved back and to be, valued, and people, want to be immersed in your life and you in theirs, and, you get to see places, travel. I mean, that's the fucking tits, man. seeing things, stretching your legs a little bit, you know, putting some fucking miles between you and the place where you left and the place where you're going, and then, you know, coming back again, and all that, you know. I don't know. I don't. It's more just some thoughts I've been thinking. It's not like I'm sitting here with a bunch of fucking answers. Nor will I tomorrow or the next day or a year from now. You know, it's just something to think about and be motivated by. Uh, so yeah, you know, just the peculiarity of it all. Um, the strangeness, the lack of making sense. I mean, life is not that I've ever, you know, ridden horses when I was young and never done any rodeo, but I've watched a little, you know, and it's kind of like just riding a fucking bronco or, you know, or a big steer. You know, you're just trying to hold on, you know, and on that, you know, they're going for 8 seconds, you know, in life you're going for 80 years. You're hoping, you know, you're hoping. And some people, you know, they get on the bull, they get on the bronco, and the first time it kicks, they don't even make it out of the fucking gate. I've never even thought until sitting here right now how much of a handy metaphor that is. Um, and some people, you know, they just ride and they just keep going past 8 seconds, and you're like, holy shit, you know, there's a fucking Mac Daddy right there. You know, and most get tossed somewhere between the buzzer and 8. You know, and some of them get banged up and they get to ride, and some of them ride again, and some of them don't. And I guess that's kind of how it is in life. Some folks are the best people, and they just get fucked over by circumstance or another person or whatever. But but I'm thankful that today was a better day than last Saturday. Last Saturday was fucking rough. Um, I got to spend a good deal of time with the family. Got to be outside. Had some shit to do. Had other shit to do that I didn't get done. And I think I'm about to walk over and grab a coffee with Caleb on the way to pick up Charity from work, and then we're gonna watch a movie later and have dinner. And uh, but uh, I miss Nathanael like hell, and I just wish he was still somewhere in this fucking world, besides a cooler and a morgue. But he ain't. So it is some kind of hell when you've got to live without somebody who you can't live without. How do you fucking do it? There's no goddamn rule book. If somebody tries to sell you one, don't fucking believe it. They're full of shit. Full of shit.